Welcome to the Strategy Mob Podcast. Tune in for everything you need to know to stay in the know regarding the automotive industry. Here's your host, Jason Harris.
Hey, what's going on, Podcast Nation? It is Jason Harris here. Thank you for joining me on another episode of Strategy Mob. Today, I have the one...
Strategy Mob.
The Strategy Mob.
Yeah.
I need an intro for that, by the way. Like, I've been thinking about that lately. Like, I need like a song or a rap or a jam or something to go with it,
You need
right?
something so you can get some royalties. For real. Every time that song gets played, you'll make 41 cents.
Exactly. So today I am joined with the one, the only, the oh-so-famous Mr. Dan Williams. Dan, thank you for taking the time to jam with me today, man.
Thank you. Thanks. I appreciate it.
Hey, Dan, for everybody out there that kind of don't know your origin story or how you got started in the industry, I thought it'd be fun to kind of kick off today's podcast with that story. So, Dan, How did you get started in this crazy little world we call the automotive industry?
Well, one day I was just swimming around in the primordial ooze, and I think it was like thunder or lightning or something just hit the ooze, and all of a sudden I was just here. No, I actually attended a class by Tom Johnston, who's at SearchPath, and it was on like how to find the perfect job for yourself. But then it dawned on me that the perfect job is being a recruiter and just giving other people jobs. Because for a while, I used to sign people up for credit cards, and it's so funny. But I was like, well, that's like giving people money. So now I might as well give people jobs too. It seems like so easy, so easy to do. Plus, I could just change people's lives, and I could help a lot of different people. So that's just how I got into it.
That's really cool. I find
then,
go ahead. I find a lot of us, we kind of stumble our way into these things, right? Like, I don't think anybody just woke up one day and like, hey, I'm going to go jump into the automotive industry. It's like, no, we just kind of tumble our way into it.
Yeah, I was going to say the reason that I got into automotive is because, obviously somebody had to train me to be a recruiter, and that's what they did was automotive. So I worked for them. Well, I didn't work for them. I worked with them. And then I just kind of, as I started getting my own clients, just start spinning up, a desk until it turned into a business, then I just started my own business. Once I got clients, it was off to the races.
Now, speaking of the automotive business, a lot has changed. I mean, just organically as an industry in, the last 6 months. I've been in the industry long enough. I've seen kind of ups and downs, and I've seen manufacturers come and even go in some cases, being up here in Canada. But man, talk about just a fundamental change in how we hire people. Who are we attracting? I think there's so much that has changed in that space. So I'm just kind of curious to kind of get your overall thoughts on the recruitment side of the business. All right, what do you see that has changed in the last 6 months due to this pandemic?
What's changed is that it's been harder and harder to find technicians. Obviously, the bottom 6% of salespeople have been laid off. And the automotive industry has actually made a lot of money due to the pandemic as well. I think that has something to do with the PPP loans and the stimulus plans or package and stuff like that. So, there are a lot of used cars being sold. And obviously, new cars, weren't even being made because of manufacturers, nobody was at work. So, people got their money and then they just spent their money on used cars.
No, that's true, man. Like, there has been a lot of shifts there. I mean, look, as an industry, we had to change. We've probably changed more in the way that we approach our communication with our customers and also the way we staff. I mean, I can't tell you how many dealerships I'm consulting with right now where I'm sitting down looking at their P&L statements, and they're going, well, look how much money I've made so far this year. Like, this is going to be my best year ever. And there's this almost kind of false sense of success because, they've cut a third of their labor expenses. They're getting, they're getting support and loans from the government or, the province or state, depending on where they live and all the other kind of environmental, effects that go into that. But there seems to be kind of that false sense. And I'm a little concerned right now. There's so many dealerships out there that are still kind of operating at 60 or 70% of their staff. Some dealerships are fully back online, which is great. And I think it just kind of depends, where you are right now. But, how's that going to affect, our industry? This is kind of my question for you, is your opinion. How is that going to affect kind of the way that we recruit when we've kind of come out and said, look, I can continue to operate my business with a third less staff? Do you see that's going to be an issue? And, do you see people not want to get into the business because of that?
I think that I feel like it was already going that direction, with the one point of sale locations. But here's the thing, you're always going to welcome more salespeople, especially if you don't have to pay these salespeople hourly. So there's always going to be room for, if you're smart and you run a dealership and somebody says, hey, I want to sell cars, you don't have to pay me, and I could sell 20 cars a month. You're going to say, well, let me see if you can do it. I got inventory. Okay, if you could sell these cars, I'll pay you commission. Why wouldn't you? You'd have to be an idiot to not say yes to that. I'm just going to be honest. You really would have to be dumb if somebody told you that they could sell your cars, for free, basically.
No, look, it's totally true, man. Yeah, the one thing though I'm a little concerned about though is like bringing new people into the industry right now. I'm just kind of looking at it from kind of, an outside kind of in. There are dealerships out there that are bringing staff back and then letting them go and then bringing them back and then letting them go. And I hate to say it. It's not for every dealership. I think there's some dealerships that have done a phenomenal job of making a good commitment to their staff. But there are definitely a handful of dealerships out there that have just kind of taken the approach of, our people are more of, not necessarily, they're more of not an asset, more of just kind of a product. So I'll take them as in and out as I need them. And, I was talking the other day to a young gentleman who before the pandemic was thinking about getting into the car business, and now talking to a lot of people in the business are afraid to get into it and don't think it's necessarily, I just don't think there's a lot of confidence right now in getting into the business. And I'm curious if you're seeing the exact same thing. Do you see a lack of confidence of new people to get into the business?
I see the business, honestly, it's really lacking technicians. It's hard to get technicians because everyone's brand specific. And then a lot of the younger guys who are graduating from UTI, they're working at warehouses and factories and stuff like that. They're not really going into automotive. So that's really the problem. The problem lies in hiring.
Is that a confidence issue? Is that because they just don't necessarily have confidence in the automotive space right now?
I think that in 2020, it's just not a sexy job or something, like where people just don't, I don't know.
Dono, let's actually go with that for a minute. Like right now, look, when I first started in the business, right, it was sexy. Okay. I mean, I remember getting my second or third commission check, and I'm going, damn, I'm going to have a fun weekend.
Checks are still like that. Well, they still like that though.
But that sexiness seems to disappear. I don't know what's it. I'm concerned right now is the fact that we as an industry have been more of maybe a transaction focus and not people focus, that attracting new people into our space has become increasingly difficult. I think the people that are going to be looking for a new job, look, the fact that you're dangling a potential six-figure income in front of me just doesn't seem to be enough for a lot of the new people that are looking to get into business. They want to see more than just big commission checks, which is probably different than when we started. I'm like, just give me the money and I don't give a crap about everything else. So the way that we attract, and that's my question for you, is right now, given the situation, given consumer confidence, how do we attract new blood into our dealership?
It's all a numbers game. You just got to put money into marketing. You just got to, you just got to, you have to.
So tell me a little bit more. So marketing, okay. So exactly what kind of messages are you seeing that are most effective? I mean, look, marketing is so broad, so there's a lot of places we can spend money.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, if you want to try to attract top talent, you need to go to where they are, and you need to attract them. You need to have like commercials and stuff on platforms like Twitch, on YouTube, on what's the one where they dance and stuff? I don't know. What's the name of that?
TikTok. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
TikTok, man. Yeah, you gotta put stuff on TikTok. You gotta attract the new talent. It's a lot easier to give birth than it is to raise the dead, and you gotta go to where they are so you can bring them in.
That's actually a really good point, Dan. So let's talk. Yeah. Let's dive a little deeper into that.
Dive deep.
What do we need to say in those videos? Is it we're trying to identify, I guess, why come work for my business? And I think income is just one aspect of it. Mm-hmm. So what would you say, like top 3 reasons why someone should work for my dealership? And
top 3 reasons?
Yeah,
why?
Exactly. Yeah.
It's got to be culture. It has to be. Nobody likes to work a full week anymore. So it's got to be a lot of time off. It's got to be like a 3 or 4 day work week. It has to be like a 3-week vacation. There has to be a great culture. It has to be room for improvement. And, they actually have to understand what the potential employee needs. A lot of businesses don't care about what the potential employee needs. They just care about their bottom line. So they need to find out exactly what the potential employee needs, and then they need to hold them accountable to obtaining that need. And then once they hold them accountable, then they're in this together, and that's what they need to do.
No, I like that. I like that kind of that accountability.
Stop looking at an employee like they're a widget.
There you go. Exactly. Stop looking at them as just like a thing or a post or a sign.
Card.
Yeah, a trading card. I like that. That's actually makes more sense. In fact, in the industry, we kind of treat them almost like trading cards. It's like I was at a networking event prior to COVID, and I'm sitting there kind of talking with a bunch of managers of a similar brand, but they're just from different locations. And the way they were kind of talking about, like, oh, you're looking for a new guy? Well, you know what? Mike's not really working out for me. How about I give you my mic? And but I need a new technician. So you have that Carl person. How about this? I'll trade you my mic for your Carl. And I was like, are we really having a discussion like this? Like, I was like, this is ridiculous. But I have heard that type of conversation. So I want to kind of step back a little bit, because you said something about kind of culture, right?
Yeah.
And I think how do you market culture to a potential new hire?
Man, that's a good question. How do I market culture? This is going to be funny, but let's say it's a potential new hire technician. You got to find out if they like country music, what type of music they listen to, because there's music playing in the shop all day long. And let's say like the shop's got nothing but Latin music playing, and this guy only likes country. It's not going to be a good culture fit. It's not going to be one at all.
Okay, I can run with that. I can dig that, right? I can dig that. So, first, kind of identify what kind of culture you have, right? And understand that you're not going to, pull someone, that's completely opposite of what you have right now, and just expect them to just kind of gel with everybody else, right?
Yeah, that's not going to work.
It really isn't. So then I guess my question is, like, from like, I get what you're saying. I totally understand kind of what you're saying. It's like, if you have a service department and they're playing a bunch of Latin music, and and someone walks in and that's not necessarily their jam, there can be just a big disconnect there as far as how they're going to gel with the team. So then do you define what the team should be first, or do you let the team define the culture? I guess that's what it is. The
team defines the culture.
Okay, elaborate a little bit more on that.
Well, the team is the culture. So the team has already defined the culture. So when you're bringing somebody new in, they can't, they can't change the team. The team's not going to revolve around them. They're going to have to revolve around the team. There is no I in team. So this guy could be a rock star, and he'll come there and he'll just be a cancer. And so, it's not good to bring in, cancerous situations. So that's something you want to look out for. It's like recruiting 101. If it's not a good culture fit, it's not worth the time.
So then how do you look for that? Like, I'm just always kind of curious. Like, let's say during the interview process, you're looking for a culture fit, I guess, first, right? That's probably the most important thing, is a culture fit. So how do you identify that culture fit first, before you kind of identify if they have the talent that fits the team as well?
Well, something about culture fit is that a lot of people, if they are brand specific, then that's pretty much their culture. So a dealership like a Chrysler dealership, those guys kind of got the same culture. They're all brand specific. Like, when people work on Chrysler, they really mean, I just work on Chrysler. Same thing with like Jaguar, Land Rover. You just gotta know. Like, who can go where. Like Toyota, it's kind of a toss up. So you just want to ask, you want to find out about the culture at the dealership. And then you want to ask the candidate, what type of culture are they used to working at? Are they used to a fast-paced environment, slower environment? Are they used to an environment where everybody's treated like family? What are they really looking for? And then you can tell them about the culture at the dealership. If they want to check it out, they can check it out. But if they don't, they don't. But
No, I think that's actually a really good point.
You pick up a good sense for these things.
Yeah, you do. Now, look, I find that in these type of podcasts, we end up talking a lot about what the dealers should be doing or what they should be looking out for to recruit the right person into their dealership. I kind of want to flip the book though a little bit on here, and let's talk a little bit more about the candidate. So let's say for the listeners or the people watching out there right now that are considering getting into the industry. All right, what advice would you give a salesperson? And then also, what advice would you give a technician? So we'll split it kind of two ways there. And so these are brand new people. They've either done the training or had some type of sales or technician type experience and are looking to get into automotive. All right, what kind of advice would you give someone totally fresh, just thinking about it?
Well, I would ask them if they have a plan. What do they have a life plan? And then I would let them know that this is going to be able to help them achieve that that end goal, to the plan that they have, because you can easily do it. But if you don't have a plan, you will get caught up in the machine, and that's just the truth. So
that's a really good
point.
If
you're a tech without a plan, you'll get caught up in the machine. If you are a sales guy without a plan, you'll get caught up in the machine. So you got to have a plan, period. If you don't have a plan, then this is not going to be the job for you. Just like any other job out there, you're going to complain, and you're going to go home, complain to your spouse about work, and you're probably at work complaining about your spouse because you never had a plan. So first,
I like that. I've seen that happen, actually.
Yeah, me too. So you got to have a plan. If you don't have a plan.
Let's talk a little bit about the plan. Like, just kind of just your advice, all right? Someone that maybe come up to you and say, hey, Dan, man, I'm thinking about this. Your first initial advice to them is, dude, you got to have a plan. You got to make sure that this job actually fits within your plan. How would you recommend someone structuring that kind of plan? Are we talking like a 1-year plan, a 5-year plan, a 25-year plan? Like, how does someone kind of go about just in that initial start of developing out that plan to ensure that this business or this industry is the right match for them?
Well, first they got to find out what makes them happy.
Good point. I like that.
And then if they don't know what makes them happy, they don't have anything. So after they find out what makes them happy, then they can start, trying to figure out a plan. So after you find out what makes you happy, you need to figure out what is it going to take for you to be happy every day, because nobody wants to live their life miserable. So that needs to be your initial plan. How can you have a happy life every day? And what are you willing to give up to be happy every day? And then you need to figure out exactly where do you want to be where do you want to be in 5 years? Where do you want to be in 3 years? Where do you want to be next year? So now we know that you want to be happy. So where do you really want to be and be happy? How much is it going to take for you to go there? How much is this going to cost? How much is that going to cost? Then we want to figure out how much everything is going to cost. So then leading up to where you really want to be at in a year, 2 year, 3 year, 5 years, you can start, biting off bit by bit until you've taken care of everything. So just kind of take it step by step. So now that we have this plan, and you can take it step by step, with your plan, now we can hold you accountable for this plan, and we can stick you at work. We can keep you coming to work.
Yep.
We have our
I
Monday
like that.
meetings. We could talk about everyone's plan, everyone's why. Some people may just want to be here for this amount of time, some people for that amount of time. But for the time that I'm committed to you, this is if I was a GM or GSM or whatever. But for the time that I'm going to commit to you, I need for you to commit to me. This is my plan. You've shown me your plan. Let's do this together. All of us. You know what I'm saying? If Tom wants to be gone in a year and he's done everything on his plan, we're going to throw Tom a party in a year. Because guess what? Tom's going to tell people that we take care of plans over here, and then he's going to be the recruiter. Now we don't have to hire a headhunter anymore. So now Tom, is going to be our marketing material. Now Tom's going to tell people, hey, you need to work for them. Eventually, we'll be number one. Eventually, because we're going to take care of our core group, and they're going to take care of us.
No, I think that you're 100% right? Like when you see, teams out there that are really, gelling together and really just seems to be firing on all cylinders, and they're doing it collectively together. It's when like the dealership or management team has ownership of the employees' plans. And management, I mean, some of the best managers out there, I know how to kind of structure, those plans so that it is in line with what the dealership's goals and objectives are, right? Like I feel like we're always kind of like trying to like force or twist or kind of like push our employees' plans or objectives into our plans and objectives, but in reality, we have to find out. Yeah, that is old school, right? Like, how do we?
It's corny.
So, I guess that'd be my next question. Then is like, how does a dealership kind of align themselves, where the dealership's goals and objectives are ultimately the salesperson's goals and objectives, and the two of them are just in sync with each other? Like, what advice would you give?
The advice is that if you take care of your people, they'll take care of you. This is all like pretty simple. It works. You take care of them, they'll take care of you. Work on them first, and they will work on you. That's how it goes. But you can't tell them this is our plan. You can't tell them this is our plan as a company, because that type of stuff, it's like, it's cool. This is a plan as a company, but even if you're just a GSM or GM there, you don't own this company. This is not your company. You just work here just like they do. So they need you as much as you need them. At the end of the day, man, you're just a guy with a whip. You do not want to be that guy with the whip. You don't.
No, we really don't. No, I'm with you on that one.
They'll despise you. They'll hate you. They'll despise you. And everything's going to be about you. Really, you're just a glorified salesperson.
No, 100%.
You're not a GM anymore. You're a glorified salesperson.
And you're constantly like selling the why do business with us, the why work for us kind of message, right? Do you find, and I'm curious because I talk to a lot of recruiters, right? Mm-hmm. Do you find that, you'll spend amazing amount of time with a dealership developing out all of these structures when it comes around recruiting and best practices and strategies and marketing efforts and so on and so forth, and then everything falls apart because the wrong manager is in place, or the manager wasn't trained on how to effectively manage a team? They'd rather just manage efforts. Some managers, they're just glorified salespeople. They're just so used to selling the sizzle and not the steak. Remember that? I remember that.
They're still living in 1998. So it's kind of hard, because you can't really teach an old dog new tricks, you know. So like they'll even juice me up like, hey, I want to hire all these people, and then I send them 40 people and they only hire two. See, that doesn't really add up to me.
Oh,
That
that's a good
doesn't.
point.
So that's when I just that's when I can see for myself like, yeah, this guy's full of shit. Just being honest.
Yeah, no,
He's
no,
full
no.
of
Seriously
crap.
though, have you kind of thought that as kind of like there's more training that has to happen around how do we recruit, how do we attract people? Like, I mean, look, it's enough that like they can come out and they can hire
Again,
Dan Williams. Dan can find me some of the best people out there, and that's awesome. But then if as a management team, Dan brings me great talent, but I don't necessarily know what to do with this talent or how to create that culture, then everything just kind of falls apart. Like,
if you don't know what to do with that talent or create that culture, then you yourself need to take a step back from that role that you're in because you're not fit for it. Period. You're not fit for it. It's you. If you can't handle it, then you're not ready. So whoever that is, if I bring you a whole bunch of good candidates and you don't know what to do with them, then you need to fire yourself.
no, that's totally true, man. Hey, one of the fastest ways I find out if those managers are not necessarily trained or maybe just not the right manager altogether is I always ask someone like, "What's your first day process?" What is the all right? So new recruit comes in, all right, either as a new tech or a new salesperson or a new advisor or new anything, right? Like, what does the first day look like for them? And I usually I'll find out pretty quick that most dealerships out there don't necessarily actually have a process for this at all. You've been in a lot of dealerships, so I'm sure you've seen some great examples of this and some really bad examples of this. So, can you share kind of a good, first day example, to really kind of kick off someone's employment with us at a dealership?
A good first day example is to you need to actually show them the entire business, and then you need to basically have them shadow someone, and then they're going to shadow somebody for half the day, and then for the second half of the day they're going to sit with you, and then they're going to talk to you about what they saw and how they felt about the different processes, and then all you have to do is just listen, and then it's all compound interest from there. Then you're just going to build on top of that. You're going to take some away, build, take some away, build, just keep building.
Oh, man,
That's what I think.
100%. I'm with you on that. Okay, so now my next question. You've been in a lot of dealerships. So give me an example of some of the worst first day processes or that you've seen.
Like, the worst is when I'll send people in for an interview and then the GM doesn't show up, or then he's not around, or he's running around, or he's telling the person that I sent in for an interview that they have to wait, or he doesn't really offer them the job quite. But then it's when there's a lack of communication, and again, when you're looking at the person who's there and they need a job because they got bills they have to pay, when you're not treating them exactly like a human, when you're just treating them like a playing card, like we talked about before, or like a Pokemon card, Digimon card, a trading card, baseball card, you know.
No, man, that's totally true. That's totally true. I'm with you on that. Man, that's a pretty sucky first day if that's
Like a
how that's set
Pog.
up.
You remember Pogs?
Oh my gosh, I remember Boggs.
You used to play with those, didn't you?
Oh, dude, hell yeah.
Yeah, Pogs.
I had a badass
Yeah.
slammers. Remember the slammers?
Yeah, the slammer. Yeah, and the spinner.
Dude, it was great. That was probably one of my first hustles, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Was
the
buying
Pog
and
gang.
selling those things, at the schoolyard,
You had
right?
a Ziploc bag?
Oh, hell
in
yeah.
the schoolyard for sure. I was
Yeah.
in fifth grade, yeah.
Damn straight. I could buy them from a local store, upsell them at school, or
Yeah.
trade them for, something I wanted for a lunch or dessert or something like that. I'm like,
Right.
I like that brownie you got. I'll give you this Pog for that brownie.
Slammer. Yeah,
I'll give you
yeah.
a slammer. Dude, that's funny. I
Right.
haven't talked about Pogs in God knows how long. That's awesome.
Right.
So, Dan, I know we're getting towards the tail end of our conversation today, but for the dealerships out there that are I think understanding that their team really needs to evolve, and for their team to evolve, all right, they got to bring in that new fresh blood. All right. And then I think there's a fair amount of people out there that are listening or watching us right now, and they're shaking their heads up and down that they need to do a better job of kind of identifying the why, the why come work with me. All right. What would you say a dealership sitting there trying to define this? It's not necessarily easy to define, right? What are kind of the top 3 things that you're seeing out there for a kind of a why come work with me?
Now, what are the top 3 things that are working, or the top 3 things?
Top 3 things that are working. Let's do that.
Top 3 things that are working is get a demo car, 4-day work week, 4 days, 10 hours a day,
that's
or
a good
3 days, 12 hours a day. That's for techs. And the last one is if it's a top dealership, it's the fame, it's the glory, and that's pretty much it. That's what I'm seeing.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Hey, for everyone out there that's watching and listening, Dan, and would love to connect with you and kind of follow along with what you do, or maybe even talk to you about some recruitment opportunities, what is the best way to connect with you, sir?
You know what? I'm actually going to say that the best way to connect with me is to give me a personal call. 216-233-9752. Dan Williams. Just give me a call. Call my phone. That way we don't have to worry about Instagram, Facebook, MySpace, Black Planet, LinkedIn. What's some other ones?
TikTok, the one you forgot.
TikTok. We don't got to worry about none of Twitter. Just call me. Use your cell phone for what it's worth, and call me. 216-233-9752. Dan Williams. Call me. I'll answer. I always believe in having great customer service, and we'll just get the ball rolling, and we'll just figure it out.
Awesome. That's awesome, man. Hey, thank you so much for taking the time to jam with me today.
Thank you so much for jamming with me. This has been a blast.
It has been fun, dude. And we get to talk about Pogs. Like, seriously, I haven't talked about Pogs in probably 30 years. So that's a lot of fun. Hey, thanks, man. Right. You have yourself a good one.
Thanks for tuning in to the Strategy Mob Podcast with your host, Jason Harris. Don't want to miss new content? Be sure to sign up to be a mobster at strategymob.com to stay in the know. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe.